what we should have done was when Rambo out of the car, just go, run! Run! Get away, they're chasing!
Mentioned that once or twice. Yeah, where's the button? No.
It's blinking, I've taken the tip off.
I bought a Subaru Forester, a 2004 SG 2-litre turbo, 4-speed also. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Pro Detailer Magazine podcast. We have got the old faces here. It's myself, Bert. We have Ian. Say hello, Ian.
Hello there.
We have James.
Hello.
We are currently in a different location. We are cooped up in the upper sort of attic office room at UKDA, where we have assembled all of our various desktops from our homes and offices. We have a total of, 7 screens on the desk and 3 meaty desktops underneath them. And we have been writing issue 11 of the magazine pretty intensively for the last couple of weeks, and we've got another week or so to go. So we thought we were just going to down tools briefly, stick in our Roadcaster podcasting thingamadiggles, and start talking through microphones for your entertainment and enjoyment.
One or the other.
Yes, one or the other.
Or neither.
Probably neither, let's face it.
You can't have both.
No. But we thought in terms of topics today, we've got various little updates, automotive updates, which you can look forward to later on in this podcast. But I thought it might be a nice idea to talk about what it's like putting together the Pro Detailer magazine.
Awful.
Hell on earth.
I hate you people.
Well, the thing is, I suspect it's one of those jobs that any detailing enthusiast will be very jealous of what we do, because effectively, when we're on magazine duties, we go soldiering around the countryside, sometimes over to foreign continental lands. We get lots of free products sent to us. We get lots of manufacturers inviting us to like events and launch parties and stuff like that. And in return, we then sit down and write about it and take photos. So, I mean, compared to, for example,
but it's not like we're going to the Victoria's Secrets launch party or something like that. It's it's nice things like Soft 99, but it's not Taylor Swift in the one piece.
No, and to be fair, I'm kind of glad that we're not in such a sexist society now that they have girls in jumpsuits running around these launch parties. They're mostly large, middle-aged, bearded men called Steve.
Much better.
Yeah, which is at least consistent, and you know what you're getting. But James, what has been your highlight? I can't see you. I can just see two screens from behind. But
Well, pull one of them round.
no, they're in a nice position. It took me ages to get there.
Not my pink elephant off the top of the screen.
No, I'm not going to touch your horny pink elephant. He's got a little plastic toy thing that must have come from a Happy Meal or something like that, or not a Dairy Lee. What do you call them? The Kinder Surprises, something of that nature. But it's an elephant with a trunk and then an additional horn on the top of its skull.
It's a quiff. It's not a horn. We've been through this. Elephants have hair on the top of their head.
It's a uni elephant.
Right. Okay. So moving on to different topics. James, what day have you enjoyed most during your sort of tenure on Pro Detailer magazine duties?
Probably the one that I had off.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, obviously it's going to be the BMW day, isn't it?
You were quite excitable that day.
Yeah. But I'll tell you what it was. It was when we took the couple of days out at Frankfurt, the motor show.
That was an interesting one.
Yeah,
and I remember riot police, and I remember lots of people.
But so as a kid, my dad took me to Wells Court, and that was really the only sort of motor show, because that was the British Motor Show, wasn't it?
It was.
So I went to that as a kid, and then I always dreamed of going to Frankfurt or Tokyo, but Frankfurt's more achievable. And yeah, we managed to somehow blag press passes.
Yes. It was the press passes we had allowed us to go in without paying. It was quite a steep price as well. If you were just a sort of member of the Turbo, you'd be paying quite considerable money to get in there. And I remember we were driving through. I think you did most of the driving in central Frankfurt, because I kind of struggle European driving. I need to be in the swing of it, and I can't talk if I'm driving in
You
Europe.
were trying not to hit protesters, weren't you?
Yeah, we
Or trying to.
Well, really awkward because it was the was it the G10 summit that was on?
No, it was about the motor show. They were environmentalists.
Oh yeah, of course, I remember.
And they were upset. And I thought it was a bit silly because most of the show seemed to be about electric cars. But anyway, we park about 60 levels below ground and walk with all our camera kit for what feels like perhaps 5, maybe 25 miles. And
through all those spooky sort of
corridors,
1950s tiled tunnel network, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was definitely, I felt vulnerable. I had to keep telling myself, it was James, it's not just a weird bearded man behind me the whole time.
You were just making sure that you could still outrun James, weren't you?
Well,
that was the most important thing.
It does help sometimes. But
you seem to forget that being my shape, I can roll very quickly.
Yes.
Like a
barrel people out of the way.
like a bowling ball full of inertia.
So we get up to what should have been like a central entrance from underneath in the main foyer, and that's all blocked off and locked down. So we then go out onto the street and around to like the main entrance, and it is lots of protesters who are in various states of undress and sort of yelling and yapping. And then there are the police, but of course, being German, they did it properly.
Sting was there.
Yeah, yes, his crew, but also riot police with big guns and lots of armour and stuff. And I suddenly felt this was like a kind of a Robocop-y thing. And then I realised that around my neck was a big camera, and I had I was waving a press pass around. I went up to one German police officer thinking that being British and waving a press pass would let me through. And I basically said, "You have to stand aside, I'm press." Which it turns out, of course, he presumed I was pressed there to catch the protester, not the car show. So we got short shrift, and then there was a very appealing, sturdy German woman with short hair and eyes that just made me melt. That suddenly started listening to me and talked back at me and said various things, not in English, but hey, I liked it. And we got pointed around and we had to walk literally down the middle of a road which had armoured police either side of it. And I felt like, all we need now is a tank and we could make history.
Or we could, just go and look at the motor show instead.
Yes. So we did the latter of the two options. But I did wave occasionally at the odd sort of policeman. And literally you're talking 200 policemen and women up and down each side of the street. And
Policemen officers,
yes.
Police people,
but scary police people with balaclavas and stuff. And they had these sort of ski masks on as well.
Oh yeah, they were proper.
They were ski police.
No, they were proper crowd riot squads. They were very serious. And the other thing as well is you forget that European police carry quite serious-looking semi-automatic assault rifles.
They had G7. They had some full-blown bloody carbines. I was worried because I'm a liability with my sense of humour. I'm a liability, and when I'm nervous, I talk a lot. When I talk a lot, they're generally trying to be jokes. It's just nobody realises it because they're not
like
funny.
when you told the Dover passport control that Ram had a bomb.
I didn't say that. It was the passport controller who was being very inappropriate, but Ram was the one who... So we're going over on this tour. We come up to British passport control. I have my passport ready because, organised. James has his passport. Ian has his passport. Ram put his passport in his bag, in the boot of a very full Audi S8. And then, so Ram has to sort of apologise and jumps out and stuff. And the passport guy says that I presumed he was going to say something like, "There's always one." But it's like, I knew it would be him, or something like that. And I thought, crikey.
What he should have done was when Ram go out of the car, just go, "Run! Get away, they're chasing!"
Yes.
Put everyone on alert.
Well, but then the last time I came back from France through the tunnel, it was just myself and my partner, and the French sort of passporty person said, "Is there only two of you in the car?" I said, "No, there's Brian." And he looked at me quizzically, and I said, "Yeah, Brian." And he looked, and there's no dark glass or anything. He could see that there was clearly no one else in the car. But because I put big MT off-road tyres and wheels in the car, I couldn't fit the spare in the well anymore. So I had to strap the spare into the back seat like a person. And we called it Brian or Ryan or someone like that.
I mean, I'm just impressed you didn't make Charlie sit in the back seat.
No.
I'm more impressed that you managed to get through customs in a Subaru without being 80.
Or search for drugs or anything like that. I said, it's like, again, on the first Euro tour,
You did have hiking boots on.
Oh, that's it then.
Well, we were asked by the French police in France on the way back over the tunnel on the first Euro tour when we had Matt, our lovely cameraman from Birmingham. And the Frenchman quite boldly said to me, "Do you have any drugs on you?" And I said, "I don't, but he's from Birmingham, so probably worth a check." And
I mean, that's not untrue. It's always worth a check.
You should have seen his face. There was utter silence for the 45 minutes through the trip. I think he was quite uncomfortable because something about not enough lube.
No, he was uncomfortable because he'd already taken them all.
Joke's on you, guy. He was very talkative, actually. But anyway, yeah. So I'm dangerous in situations faced with authority, absolutely authority with guns, particularly. I mouth off and tend to make inappropriate jokes like airport security. Bada bing, bada boom, is not a phrase to use as you're putting your cables.
It's not a phrase to use full stop unless you're sort of Italian mafia.
All the
It's
fonts.
Yeah. Gotta just bang the security, the scanners.
Yes. Well, Bristol Airport, I've been pulled aside twice. But the thing is, when I'm traveling with the camera gear, I'm always basically carrying a tactical rucksack full of wires and lithium.
You do look constantly startled, though.
I'm on alert in public situations. I don't like crowds, and in public situations, there are potentially lots of bogeymen around.
It's because he refuses to poo outside of his own house. He has to hold it all in for the entire journey.
You can imagine a trip to Europe for a week, bloody hurt by day 3.
That's why you drink so much Diet Red Bull.
Excuse me, sir. You look like you have something inside you. Can we please take your
Why is
X-ray?
he squirming so much?
Do not stick a probe up there, sunshine. But yes, so James, your favourite was Frankfurt, and I've mostly done the talking. So what was it about Frankfurt that got your juices flowing?
It was just being there. It is quite a spectacle, and you don't really grasp the size of the show until you've been there. I mean, there were 20 halls.
Yes,
and it took us a full 2 days to see most of the things.
Exactly, we didn't even see it all. And I really liked the aftermarket hall, which was full of kind of clever tech and stuff. And each manufacturer, there weren't actually that many manufacturers. Subaru, for example,
remember the Brembo stand?
Oh,
they had every colour of Brembo caliper you could think of on the wall.
And big ones, proper big ones. And they also had fake and real Brembos next to each other, so you could try and see the difference, because they've got a real problem with fake Brembos, apparently.
Can I just point out this time when you guys were having fun in the Brembo Hall, I was in Coventry. I mean, I was being made very welcome by Slims, and there's some lovely cakes and everything there, but still, Coventry.
Isn't the mayor of Coventry now a professional detailer?
No, that's the
it was the mayor
Andy
of
Street Smith something, mayor of the West Midlands.
Yeah.
Oh, what, the West Midlands got a mayor?
All of it.
Yeah, I think he's kind of a big deal in that part of the world.
I'm kind of a big deal.
Yeah, seemed like a nice chap, and
Did he have
jumped all over the Bentley with an XFE and didn't damage it, so it's a bit of a downer.
That'd have made good telly, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I was filming in slow motion and everything. Nothing.
Just use a DA polisher like a jackhammer down the bonnet.
Get denim pad. Get denim pad.
So, apart from your trip to Coventry, that obviously sticks in your mind like a
throat.
Can you think of a day on your many travels?
Just one day? No. Oh God. Okay.
Particular highlight, something where at the end of the day you thought that was
liked going when we went to Decon last year. Just that whole the area, the little town we stayed in, all of the currywurst.
That was a really good event as well.
It was a really nice event, and I'm going to go back for my holiday this year. I haven't told the rest of my family that, but that's going to be my holiday.
What?
Well, I'm doing the same thing.
Oh, well, I'll see you there.
You're taking your family there? I mean,
no. I'm not telling my family.
Oh no, I'm taking my family.
Oh, that's going to be awkward.
How is that a holiday?
It'd be more awkward if I took your family.
Well, I mean, give it a try if you want.
6 chickens, 4 dogs, and 2 cats. You're welcome to them.
Well, I'm sure I can buy food on the way.
Dogs. Yeah, Decon was fun. I have to admit, I love that hotel we were in.
The hotel was very cool.
And people were cool. There were lots of funky people. And I don't know, the community...
There were a lot of tight trousers, I have to say.
Yeah.
And from the other sex.
And hair gel as well.
From the male side.
I didn't realise hair gel was such a large commodity in Europe still.
Yeah.
I've never seen it applied with a spatula before.
No.
Well, I have.
Yeah, you're from Essex in the 70s.
70s?
Well, around then.
Right. Okay.
But no. Anyway, never mind. But yeah, in terms of the community there, though, the German detailing community felt friendlier and more open-minded. Quite often when you go to an event in the UK, sometimes you do spend about 20 minutes listening about other people moaning about other people, whereas in Germany, there was a lot of touching. There was a lot of man-touching. There was a chappie who I've only ever met on Instagram who did want to come in for a cuddle, and I had to quite firmly say no. And then I did 9, and then I did no, just in case he was French, but he was definitely German.
So you ended up standing there sounding like a fire engine in front of him going, 99,
Pretty much. Sweating profusely.
And then Semir turned up and made everybody smoke.
Yes. Oh, that was nice.
You didn't.
Didn't I? I think I did.
I
Don't worry, Charlie's not going to listen to this. I think the idea of my partner listening to a podcast for an hour that only 4 other people listen to, hell no. No, I restarted smoking, I think, by the time I got to Dover. And then by the time actually we were at Decon, I was kind of running out of energy and starting to realise that I don't enjoy smoking as much anymore. You had half a puff and decided against it.
I think I had a total of 3 cigarettes the entire time I was there. I was like, no, I'm going to go back to the one that tastes like apple pie, not the one that tastes like ashtray.
I had 3 packets of cigarettes.
I definitely tried my best.
I was irritated. I tried to smoke. I really wanted to smoke, but no.
The problem is, Semir gave me a cowboy killer from like the 1970s, and it was some sort of, I don't know, what were they, Winstons or something?
Oh, no, he had, because we met him again in
Oh, they
Frankfurt.
were L&M's.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Red L&M's.
Not that bad. Not as bad as I remember them.
Oh.
But there's not a Benson's Gold to be had anywhere, and that was upsetting, because that's where my memory is. I was on basically Marlboro Reds, which were always my backup. I don't do diet cigarettes or menthols or anything sort of different like that. But yeah, no, anyway. So smoking, we're probably not allowed to talk about that anymore. There's probably some law against that.
No, we're not. But yeah, the decon was good. What about you, Bert? What's been your favourite single day?
I've been really struggling to think, because there have been so many and they're so varied and they've got appeal in different ways. I think probably the standout for me was the Soft 99 launch in Berlin, partly because I cocked up repeatedly from everywhere, from getting on the aeroplane at Gatwick and get my knickers in a twist there, to getting I waited at a bus stop because Google told me to get on a train. I didn't realise the train station was underground, and I waited.
We did this story a couple of podcasts ago.
Yeah, and then I ended up in Leipzig, so that was awkward. But that was a hell of a day, and I just remember it being in a very, very slow but still dangerous Uber, coming back from that thing at 3 a.m. to an airport hotel and thinking, crikey, what a day. Checkpoint Charlie, a fancy pants launch ceremony. We did 3 interviews. I learned an awful lot, and
the museum was pretty cool, wasn't it?
Oh, that place.
What was your favourite car in that museum?
My favourite car in that museum, I think, was outside, because there are lots of fancy pants, supercars and multi-million-pound cars in there. But outside in the car park, there were some really cool cars. And I saw a lovely, early 80s Volvo saloon in maroon. And it was absolute bog standard.
Was it like a 740?
No, it was pre all that lot. It was early 80s, late 70s. It was the sort that you could invade a country with.
Because I had a maroon 740 GLE Matchbox car.
Yeah. You just added Matchbox car.
Yeah.
God, it's just gone up in my estimation as well. And there were quite a few other cars like that, which were really weird, like the Maserati Biturbos and a couple of others, like Audi 200 saloons. Really not very exciting. It's kind of the unremarkable.
I'll tell you what, when we were in Germany, we went to see Flex and that the 4x4 Lada.
Oh, the Neva.
Yes, the Neva. That's it.
Cossack.
Yeah, well, you can get those.
Cossack.
We were walking into the factory in the morning. We were all stopped and just crowded around this little Lada, absolutely beaten up piece of crap.
Yeah, but you can still buy them now, new.
I would love that.
I'm sure we've had this conversation in the podcast.
Possible. Maybe we're just very boring and shallow, and we just talk to old people in old people's home, make the same jokes every day, but it's fine because none of them can remember the first time.
So should we get on to what we've been up to for this magazine?
Yeah, that's a good call. You two chaps went off to Colourlock in Londinium, didn't you? What happened?
God, that was ages ago, wasn't it?
That was
before Locus Downus.
Was that 1998? I think.
I think I still had a cool hairstyle then.
Yeah. Well, ironically, if it was that far back, I'd have lived just around the corner. But yeah, we had a really good day at Colourlock. I do remember it being intensely hot though.
It was rather warm. Not as warm as the guys in the bakery opposite, where we absolutely smashed out some cakes afterwards. I think that, as much as I love going to see Ram and Georgina and all the guys down there, the bakery was the highlight of that trip, I have to say.
The ramen restaurant was pretty good as well.
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
And this was literally a week before lockdown that we were down there, and there were already people wandering around in masks here, there, and everywhere. And it was a little bit tense and nervy, but you go in there, it was a lovely bit of food, actually.
Edgy. The one thing I notice when I'm off on my own on my Todd doing a shoot, I'll get up silly early, 4 or 5 or whatever, hurdle up. I mean, hell, with Matt, we did Teesside and back inside a day with a full day of shooting. But we don't stop for
Just
food.
have to get out there before the sun rises or sunset.
It never really did anything. The international airport with one international flight. Anyway, but when we're going within, particularly, breakfast and meals is a thing. I mean, I have to like allow an extra hour for anywhere we go within on the basis that he insists that we stop to eat and all of this.
Do you remember when we did?
Well, to be fair, it's also to refill oil in one of our Audis. Let's face it.
The trip we did to Sheffield was pretty hardcore, wasn't it, for the PVD assessments?
That was hardcore. We did it in your Bimmer, which I was very impressed with.
More importantly, were you more impressed with the fact that my homing pigeon senses took us straight to a Greg's?
Was it?
Yeah, we went to Greg's for breakfast. Do you remember? You went and got a coffee from next door.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, so you went to Greg's. I went and got a coffee. Yeah. I remember that.
They did a whole breakfast in a coffee cup.
Okay.
At Greg's.
See, I don't think I've. Oh, I remember now at the service station on the side of the road. Yeah. No, I remember that. No, I'd like the coffee. I mean, it was okay.
That was a rough day. That was
Well,
a rough day. It was freezing. It was windy, and we'd done a 3-hour drive each way.
Oh, it was nothing. I mean, you did the driving, but it was. We've done much longer.
Yeah,
much
no, I know.
back in the day. But
doing a full day's training, full day assessments as well outdoors.
That's true.
It knocks it out.
Yeah, it does. It absolutely does.
But yeah, the Colourlock trip was good. I got to spend time with
Georgina. Doing your colour matching.
Yeah, so Colourlock have got the new scanner out, haven't they?
Mm-hmm. The John,
Dave.
Still called the John.
But Georgina,
no matter how many letters they send us.
Please stop calling it that. So yeah, we basically went through matching by eye rather than using the scanner by eye. And yeah, it was really interesting. Just sort of.
You were using the Leatherfresh lot, weren't you?
So we were mixing it up for Leatherfresh, yeah. But you mix up a normal dye to start with, and then you add the Leatherfresh thinner in.
30-70.
But yeah, so we were having to play around. She said, "Oh, why don't you try and match up this one?" So I did, and then she screwed the lid on and put a label on it and sent it to a customer. No pressure.
No. God. So, and Ian, what trip have you done for this? I mean, I'm just trying to think.
I mean, trips
because we did
the Labo.
Yeah,
we've talked about that.
I've written a 2,250 word monologue about our trip, and I'm kind of proud of it. But at the same time, I'm a bit nervous. I don't want to cause offence by accident, if you know what I mean. So
Well, cause it on purpose, then you know it's going to happen.
Well,
if you're deliberate about it.
Yeah, well, we're all debating about who we send to what and everything in advance and stuff like that. It's always a bit of a juggling act. But the other trips, so I was down at Profecta Clean a couple of weeks ago with Turtle Wax. That was quite fun, doing a 50-50 golf. Where else? There was the Haynes Museum Soft 99 launch again, not quite Berlin, but pretty good. Yeah.
Then there's our big trip the other week when we went down to KDS to have a play with the new Udas.
Udas, of course.
Udon.
I need to stop putting the umlauts on top of the U.
Udas.
Hello there, Udas.
Well, that was a pretty seminal day. It's the first time I met
It was a great day with a very, very sad ending, being diverted around the Burger King that I've been looking forward to for weeks.
Again, we spent a whole day with like the latest machine, the only one over in the whole of Europe or something, and we meet one of the kind of the big characters in the detailing world, and all you can moan about is the fact that at 10 o'clock at night or 11 o'clock at night, whenever we're passing the M4, they decide to close and push us through Reading. You missed out on a Burger King.
I could moan about a lot more than that. I'm just choosing the Burger King out of my general list of disappointments, spending a couple of hours in a car with you.
Oh. You've got real issues with the M4 at the minute, haven't you?
In general, well, yeah, I mean, my loop-the-loop way around there when I tried to go down to Essex the other week, where it decided to take me off at Reading, round back onto the M4 about 2 miles back from where I'd left it, then off again at Reading, and then down, and then back up and across, and then down.
So your problem's not with the
M4.
The M4 is lovely. I live literally one field away from the M4. I could
almost hurl a stone onto the M4 from my bedroom window.
Yeah, but you throw like a
You
girl.
couldn't, yeah.
All right.
You get Charlie to do it for you, though.
Thank you. And but as a sales rep back in the day, the M4 always meant I was nearly home because I used to live about an hour south of the M4, and when you're working in Wakefield, it's a long old trek to do that.
But you say that on the way back, I decided to avoid the M4 because it was still closed in that sort of half a mile section that meant the entire thing was closed down. So instead, I went up the M40, which I used to all the time when I lived in Banbury.
Oh, M40 is a good road.
The M40 is beautiful, that little bit, until you turn off onto the A40 up through Oxford, and it's just lovely scenery everywhere. On the M4, you're just like, Slough, Reddit, and you're just trying to avoid places. It's a way to bypass some of the just slightly.
Just before we switch back to actual detailing talk instead of this weird Alan Partridge conversation, the worst road in the world has to be the A50.
No, it's the southbound M25.
See, I don't mind it.
The rumble strip.
So the A50's worse. It's worse than that. It's blocks of concrete from Stoke.
Where's the A50?
So it runs from Stoke-on-Trent
I would have gone there then.
Toxeter and Derby and all the way.
It should be a warning in the first place.
Yeah. Well, it's the quickest way to get to Donington Park from my house. That's why I've been down it a few times. But yeah, that's like the southbound M25, but each block's about an inch lower than the one before it. So it's like ga-dung, ga-dung, ga-dung.
As you
just
just
start playing the
hell.
EastEnders theme tune.
And because there's never any traffic on it, you always end up doing about 150 mile an hour. And
Oh, well, at least it's sort of a fast
Yeah, it
beat. It
speeds up.
starts to go a bit of electropop.
Oh, have you seen the rumble strips in Japan that play a tune when you drive over them?
There's
at the right
those in
speed?
America as well that play the national anthem.
Hang on, James, which of your current roadworthy cars can do 150 miles an hour?
Well, not current, but I had an E36 M3 fly speed.
You've mentioned that once or twice. Yeah, where's the button?
No, that's the M3. I don't talk about the M3 much because it hurts too much.
Oh, bless.
The M5 is the one I always go about.
We've started talking about cars. Should we continue talking about cars?
No, let's talk about the magazine still.
Magazine,
Yes,
yes.
magazine, that's a good idea.
Megatest.
Megatest. Now, that has been an eye-opener, hasn't it?
It's been a pain in the arse.
Shall I introduce it so folks know what we're talking about, and then you two, as the actual detailers here, can put your input. The original
I'm going
idea...
to have a drink while you do this.
Okay, you do that.
Is it an alcoholic one?
Oh, I wish.
Just for reference, we're talking about how much we enjoy the magazine. It is currently 9:10 on a Friday night.
It's 9:40. No wonder
Oh
you're
my
always
God.
late. Your clock's slow.
I'm always late because it's a lady's prerogative.
Well, there are some mega tests that are quite easy. So our very first one, we did shampoos and glass cleaners, and the difficult bit was sending it out to lots of people who then didn't bother getting back to us. Then we did the others. We did quick detailers.
Sham.
The difficulty was
Sham.
loads and loads. Yeah, James. Has
No,
got
Sham was
issues
the
with
first one. Were you listening?
Boo.
Yeah, and anyway, and then we've done others. So the most satisfactory for me has been the trim test we did fairly recently. In fact, in the last one, wasn't it?
I think the wash mitt test was the best one so far because that actually turned things upside down a little bit.
It got traction in terms of people started talking about it, but the trim test I felt happiest with simply because I felt the evidence and the backup and everything we'd done scientifically was kind of the strongest cause.
It was great until we pulled the trim piece out the other day and found the peanut butter bit covered in mould.
Yes, that was a bit
We
gruesome.
need to start throwing stuff away after we finish testing.
Yeah, we have a graveyard of bits. Hell, I've got still the panels from the new car protection stuff rotting.
Does anybody need a full near side door trim for a Vauxhall Movano? Email us.
Yeah, or a Freelander something. But anyway, this one we've avoided. The ones we're avoiding is kind of ceramic coatings because we really want to be able to test them properly for durability, and that's going to take time.
And you won't buy me an electron microscope.
No, well, we looked into it. We are actually using the surfaces for this one. I won't go into too much detail, but the surfaces of a scientific chappie with some very powerful microscopes for this one, which is costing...
Well, even an expert in macroscopy.
Yes.
Or microscopy.
Microscopy, I like that.
Microscopy.
Oh, microscopy's been playing up something rotten.
Oh, we're back to catching CBeebies again, aren't we? Oh, God, me CBeebies are killing me.
We've avoided doing ceramic coatings with that, but this time we've also avoided doing compounds because that's really very difficult to do. But we thought, no, sod it, we're going to go head first and do heavy cut compounds on rotary polishing using the pad and compound that the manufacturer recommends.
It's not so much that it's difficult to do, it's that it can be very subjective. And until now, we've struggled to see how we can take any bias out of it and just keep it down to the evidence in front of us.
Yeah.
And the other problem we've got as well is that Ian's A5 has been the test vehicle for the subjective part.
Ian, I can hear your bones popping. Stop touching yourself.
Sorry.
That sounds like a rapper, doesn't it?
Your bones popping.
Bones popping. But Ian's A5's got strangely hard paint.
That's what all the girls say.
Yeah, but
It's got strangely hard paint for a car that's so ridiculously scratched and marred.
yeah, and it's had paint as well. That's the weird thing, is that the car's had paint, but the paint that it's had is very, very hard.
It's almost like someone's done it properly.
Yeah. Who'd have thought? But it's so the subjective part's been really difficult because every car is so different. You can't judge one polish on one car. If that makes sense.
Well, without giving any results away, basically there was one product that we didn't expect to do particularly well, and it just knocked the socks in the early days of the other ones. We thought, what the hell's going on here? And anyway, we then tried it on other cars, particularly my old VOD, which is a much older Audi with much sort of simpler paint, and on some panels we've got here. And then suddenly the situation changed. We actually tried it on different machines as well, in terms of movement type, not just rotary, although that was the kind of the prescription.
That was only the prescription for the bench test, though. This is a look at what works best. So if we do find one that works best with a dual action and knocks everything else out of the water, then that's another conclusion. I don't think we're going to come to one conclusion with this mega test. It's going to be a range of results, a range of options.
I think it's actually going to be educational because we've learned so much in terms of also how one uses it. Some compounds, James and you were trying lots of different strategies, hard and fast or soft and gentle, and various other approaches, and found that the compounds reacted and responded differently to these different treatments, which is
night and day differences in some cases.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've got, in terms of the players, we've got the big guns in, most of them. We don't have a couple, which was a bit sad. But we're
missing a few real big names, aren't we? And it's just for a bit of background. At the beginning of all of this, we approached all of the manufacturers and asked for their recommendations. We gave them the brief for the bench test, and we asked for their recommendations on polish type, pad type, and technique if they recommend one, because we know that Roops, certainly with their DA system, have the 6-pass method, don't they?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we just wanted to check if their sort of technical guys or their chief trainers had any rock solid techniques that they recommend. And we are only testing the guys that got back to us, because without that info, it kind of blew the...
It gives them a chance to call foul play.
Yeah, and we didn't want that. And again, the reason we chose rotary is because for bench testing, it was the easiest to modulate, or to regulate, sorry. Because of the action of a DA machine, it only takes a stalled pad, which can easily happen with temperature or moisture being wicked away by the pad, and it'll behave completely differently.
And a slight curve on a surface, even.
Yeah, exactly. So we went for the rotary because it's the easiest to regulate, basically, give us the most level set of results.
And so we've got 8 contenders in there, and we've got a couple of wildcards in there as well. So we've got, for example, Scholl Shock 2 Cut, which has been out for a couple of years now. It's fairly new, but it's not the latest. I
still think it's S2.
Well, we've also got what else have we got? We've got the Angel Wax, who sent us a medium compound, which was an interesting one. We've got Polytop.
Yeah, interesting one, isn't it?
Yeah, tell us about Polytop, James.
So Polytop, I've some of my old friends from jobs of yesteryear in Greece, Left Terrace and Mike. Hi.
Is this when you're a 1830s rep?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Do you want to buy tickets to all of the club events now?
Do you want to go on a dive?
Yeah. Party boat? Anybody? No?
I'm not getting any of these references.
That's because you were born 30. So yeah, they've been using Polytop for a while now, actually. So it's a brand that I'd heard of. And then when we spoke to Nico and Maritz at Auto Lacaffen, they mentioned it as well, didn't they? And they said it'd be great to see some sort of European products in our testing as well, to make the playing field a bit bigger.
And there's so many out there that we don't realise. I think we touched on this,
amazing.
But it was like Surfaces was the other one in Germany that they were all raving about, and we hadn't. I mean, you had heard of them, but I hadn't.
Yeah.
And we've tried in this mag. We've got the new products we've done really, really big time on, and we've got Tenzai. We've got a couple of others which you won't have heard of necessarily from, as you know, pretty close Poland. And it is interesting. So Polytop is one of those sort of new entrants.
But Polytop have been around for years and years and years, and they're a big brand, and they're a manufacturer in Germany. So it's, I don't know.
They've just got they're more on the professional side, so you won't hear a lot out of them in sort of scene circles, if you like.
Yeah. So the packaging is very professional orientated, isn't it? It's a plain white bottle, color coded labels. It's just very German, very professional.
And it's all absolutely in German. They sent us very kindly a big box of products. I have no clue what they are. I can only do it with taste and smell. And so far I've identified the fallout remover. So we've got that in there. We've got, what else have we got? Come on. We've Koch Chemie. So we've got H9, replacement of H8. We have got Svizzer, of course. Svizzer, that's
Svizzer HC.
Roops.
We have Rupes. They sent over some stuff thanks to Matt the Wolverine. There's another one there. Oh, of course, we've got Labo Cosmetica or Dace.
I don't know what to say.
And they've sent us also their golden fleece wool pad, which was an interesting piece of kit.
Yeah. I think the most impressive pad was their trapezoid microfiber one. That's
absolutely love that pad.
Yeah.
But
not necessarily the best for it, but just in terms of control and feel. Brilliant.
You were making sexual noises when you were rubbing the bonnet of your car with that particular Labo Cosmetica pad.
I think you're just misinterpreting what sexual noises are to normal people.
Oh, okay. Well, that's quite possible. So I'm not going to rule that out. But
why were you crying?
It was when I caught my thumb in it.
In what?
It's bleeding. I've taken the tip off.
So, magazine again.
Yes, back to that. There are 8, and I don't know whether we've hit all 8. But anyway, so we've got lots of interesting containers.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to see all 8.
No, Cartec.
Cartec, of course. Heavy Cut 3000. James got all emotional because it reminded him of compounds that he used to use in terms of its smell and application and stuff.
It smells like Fast Cut, tastes like Fast Cut.
Crunchy.
Yeah, it's nice in the eyes like Fast Cut. It was very familiar. I won't give away the results, but when you've used a product for so many years and then you pick up a new product and it reminds you of the old product you used for so many years, it's a bit of a flashback. Yeah,
you liked it. And also there was issues that you had identified with Fast Cut, and then you tried to see if the Cartec would do the same. I think you called it bobbling up or something, but it didn't. Fluffing, but it didn't do that, did it?
No, it didn't. No, I was very impressed with it. But again, without going into the test too much, I'm very eager to see the bench test compared to the real life testing that we did on Ian's car.
Yeah. And we'll be doing more testing on, as I say, it is car dependent, so we are using a multitude of different things. The bench testing's done on our custom painted black Japanese paint, which was very expensive to make on custom steel or aluminium.
Steel, they weigh an absolute ton.
Steel plates, yeah. So we had that done just to make sure it's a completely level playing field, and then we'll have various cars as old and new that we try it on. So yeah, mega test is going to be pretty mega.
What's ironic though is you've had steel plates painted that are about 50 times thicker than any cheap old Japanese steel that's ever been used on these junky cars that you like.
That's a low blow, and I'm not going to rise to it. So, other things we've tested: cordless vacuums. That was fun.
New Henry,
and the
Flex,
and the Flex satchel. Yeah. So
you just like the Henry because it smiles at you.
He likes the Henry because he's got a love affair.
He's working with me. He's not used to things smiling at him during the day.
He's always he's so happy. He's always happy. You come in the workshop first thing in the morning, and Henry's there with a smile on his face.
Yeah.
And he leaves the workshop, and he's smiling.
Yeah. Wondering when you're going to come back.
Yeah, but you tip him
over.
The
lights go out. A little tear falls down his cheek.
Tip him over, and it's all right because I've got another Henry at home for personal use. Not like that.
You don't know where to put the nozzle.
No, for the carpets.
Ma'am, I told you not to come in my room and I'm hoovering.
Sergeant Doofy reporting for duty.
Okay, and we're covering that quickly. So we've done pet hair as well, pet hair brushes, vacuum.
Hey, we've actually got some pretty cool pet hair gadgets. That'd be a really fun article to read.
That's going to be fun, and we're going to employ I found a use for one of the dogs at least, so we're going to give her a bath because she's a mentalist dog.
You better hurry up because if you don't, we're going to lock Ian's cat Fudge inside a car and shake it.
Yeah, that's a dangerous
It'll
cat.
be your car.
No, it's not
No,
the
you-
dangerous one. It's the scared one.
The scared one. I never see that because it always runs away. The other one always attacks me, and I ended up with. I had a cut. And when I was going in and feeding your cats while you're on holiday, I couldn't go up the stairs for 3 days because it was guarding them. Terrifying.
Well,
cat.
at least you didn't go up the stairs and she gets behind you because then you're stuck.
Then you can't go out. Oh no, I'm not scared for my own safety. I know I can get
Well,
through
you should
there.
be.
Well,
Push
really.
come to shove. Yeah, but there was a lot of blood first time I met that cat, and it all came out of me.
And now she's got a taste, so she knows what you.
Yeah, she knows what it tastes like, so to speak. So yeah, we've got that, and I don't want to give away everything else we've got lots of exciting.
Well, we got the
things.
carbon discs thing.
That's
Oh, yeah.
fun.
That's great
Awesome.
fun.
Yeah.
It's been interesting trying to find some tests that we can actually do because short of getting ourselves on top of the ridiculously expensive ceramic discs, getting ourselves something like a McLaren 720S and washing them naturally and bolting them back on and then going out and trying ridiculous speeds on the M4.
Yeah.
Which, in the name of science, I'd be willing to do.
Well, it'd be great, but you could only get down as far as Reading and then you'd be diverted around some
Oh, here
stupid
we go again.
Well,
Right,
the
come
irony
on.
is you'd end up in Woking where the damn thing was built.
Yeah, you can drop it back off.
Yeah.
Hello.
McLaren gone under yet?
No.
No,
No,
God,
okay.
they're
They got funding, have they?
buoyant
Again.
as ever.
No, hang on. You've got to be careful.
No, it was Aston Martin that was struggling.
No, McLaren, they were trying to refinance on something they'd already financed.
So refinancing.
Yeah.
There's-
They were
there's
doubling down on a loan.
Well, look.
There's a Flavio Briatore taking over.
Can we be very careful, please? Because we sell 3 or 4 magazines every issue that go directly to different people at McLaren. So I want to make sure that we say nice
We'll say
things.
nice things about them in the magazine. They're not going to listen to this crap, though.
Oh, they might. Well, they're going through. I
love McLaren. I love McLaren. Love their cars.
I do.
But yes, but short of actually getting a McLaren doing a test with them at high heat, at speed, at brake wear, all we can really test is will common acid break down the disc.
Yeah.
Over time.
Yeah.
That's what we can test. That's what we are testing, and we've come up with some pretty interesting results, frankly, including one that we really weren't expecting. So,
And we were very lucky that Apex Nürburg, the ring taxi depot, they kindly shipped us a pair of
Yes.
720S front discs, which had good form around the Nürburgring, I believe.
Yeah, indeed.
So yeah, we got those discs. I think they retail at about £8,000 each.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
not the one we
even the
smashed with a
used ones
hammer.
were about 1,200 quid.
Yeah, so you can get a
Yeah.
used disc for about 12 or 1,500 quid. So yeah, we thought we'd take a sledgehammer to ours.
Yeah, well, one of them. The
Not-
other one is reserved for James's personal collection. I'm not sure what he's going to do with it,
But ceramic discs not as brittle and breakable as everyone would have you believe. You're not.
Absolutely
Any
not.
mechanics out there who work with a lot of ceramic discs, if you drop the disc on the floor, you'll be fine. If you drop it from like a 12-story height, you may still get away with it. We were pounding these things with 6-pound club hammers, and it was just bouncing off and maybe a little piece coming off the edge.
I have the photos.
We started off with a Dremel.
Yeah.
We started off with a Dremel and a cutting disc, and after the 4th disc, we decided that we needed a hammer.
Mm-hmm.
And then we needed a bigger hammer.
mm,
We actually broke a 12-inch claw hammer and it was a fiberglass one in the process of it. It was Richard's hammer, by the way. I still haven't told him.
He did go looking for that the other day, actually.
Did he?
He did, yeah.
I just put it on
Trying to
the
put a screw in.
No, I put it on like the middle shelf in the cupboard, so it'll be out of his eye line. He left it as long as he doesn't climb any ladders, we'll be fine. The mag also has a bubbling guide section where we do bug removal. We do a lovely article.
Ian's launched his submarine again.
We do tree sap. We have got other guides. What are guides? James has been heavy on the guides.
Yeah,
hasn't he?
so bug removal.
Motorcycle detailing.
Motorcycle detailing.
That's a biggie.
That is a biggie, actually, yeah. So, Rich, our dear Rich from UK Detailing Academy, he's bought himself a crotch rocket, hasn't he?
Well, isn't it? It looks like a huge bike until he gets off it, and then you realise it's actually just a little 750.
Perspective.
It's all about scale.
Right, the theme tune. Yeah, so he's bought a motorbike. So obviously UKD are launching their hour there. Motorcycle detailer training. So yeah, they've done a good old guide on motorcycle detailing.
That's not to be a motorcycle detailing. It's for detailing motorcycles, so you're not going to be a detailer on a motorcycle.
That you would struggle that. You'd need the
Oh
U-boss.
well,
Yeah. It's getting the tow hitch on the back.
they exist.
I know, I've seen them. They're really cool.
Yeah, we've got that bug removal. Our dear good friend Dr. Neuner at Nanalex, he gave me some really good insight into the chemistry used behind specific insect removers, because they're a thing.
So there's an awful lot going in there, and it's going to be quite a thing. Now, there are two big things about this edition coming up. One, and I don't mean to be too boring, but it's got a different form of binding. So before they were stapled, which limited us pretty much to 100 pages at decent page thickness, but now we've gone perfect bound. So it's got a spine, and we can go really as big as we want. So
the font size is going up to like 15. If we do large print editions.
well, we've also changed font. We've gone from Fritz Quadrata over to an Adobe font as well.
Wow, this has taken a turn, hasn't it?
This is it's the techie stuff that I quite like.
We've
Our
done
margins have changed.
We've done motorways and dual carriageways. We've done
A-roads and B-roads.
fonts. Oh, that's a
In
lovely
Bert's
font
magical
over there.
world. Yes. Oh, it reminds me of PageMaker 4.2. Now, I'm going to tell you a little story, but no, I'm not. So anyway, look out for it. 108 pages at least. It's probably going to go a bit more. We've got a couple of articles. We're praying that Mike Phillips will do an interview with us. We've sent questions. He said he will, but we've had delays and vacations and stuff. We've also got other interviews in the pipeline from all over the world. We've got lots of exciting stuff happening.
Oh,
really.
car news.
Car news. I want to do a little bit of car news.
Somebody has made another terrible decision, and it wasn't me. It wasn't me. I went to see that BMW, by the way.
Yeah, it was a...
Well,
your own words were, it was a shitbox.
No, well, that's not fair. He actually drove pretty well, but the smoke pouring out the engine bay when I got back wasn't great, and I don't really want cars that need paintwork, because I've already got 3 that need paintwork. But yeah, so I had to say no, and it's probably the first time I've said no to a BMW.
However, in contrast...
The first of many, with any luck.
In contrast, I've got another one because Boris, he was just having a bit of a sleepy, a bit of a rest for.
Yeah, let's talk about Boris. How's that compression working?
Well, it's supposed to be better than it was, and it's now at least consistent, but also it's cutting out when you slow down.
It's better than when it wasn't.
Well, we had 6 cylinders that were supposed to be 185 psi, and they were all about 140, and one was down to 110. So after the rebuild, we're all up and consistent at 155, so still well below where we need to be. So yeah, there are issues.
Just send the heads back in and get about an inch taken off them, and then whack them back on, 200 psi per pot.
Yeah, I'm
But
worried.
now it's got misfire now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's got a basic misfire, so when you're decelerating, the engine just cuts out, and then you come to a roundabout, and because it's got like a 90s alarm that you have to kind of press buttons and turn keys, that it's very awkward.
Oh,
so
hang on, you said it had a misfire. You
I was
didn't say
gonna say,
cut
that's
out
not
when you
misfire.
lifted off.
yeah, I just I don't want to flood you with all this tragic information. It was for
Well,
your
that
own sake.
sounds like a problem I could investigate.
Oh well, I've been
I don't
wanting
do
you to go.
misfires.
I think it's wiring. That's what I think it is. It's going to be the old loom.
Well, I think if it's cutting out when you lift off, that's probably something to do with vacuum advance.
Well, I have to admit, we've got dearest Kevin is trying, but if
Saw him today.
Did you?
Yeah, he was stood outside the MOT centre.
Oh, he spends a lot of time in the
Weeping
MOT
to
centre.
himself.
Yes. Apparently, his wife told him to get that bloody Subaru out and get it put on trailer and get it sent away. And I was like, no.
Was she Russian?
I don't know. She's.
I think that's Bert's northern accent.
No, she's Siren born and bred, so God knows why I went northern. But
Probably what the gardeners had growing up.
cheeky bugger. So the upshot is that
We're just trying to divert from what you read.
I bought a Subaru Forester, a 2004 SG 2-litre turbo, 4-speed auto, and it's in lovely blue 2-tone. It's got the moon roof.
No, it's not. It's in purpley violet.
It is.
It's not purple. It's blue.
It's violet.
Really not
Shut
blue
up.
at all.
It's violet, and
It was
only
cheap.
Hands
80.
up who's colourblind in this room. For the sake of the podcast, Bert has his hand up.
Yes, but
And
it's my car.
just for reference,
It's not my car,
only
either.
90% of it is violet as well, because the front wing's got no paint on it.
No, it's got a little bit of caricature, a little patina on the front wing. With,
It has got a race steering wheel though. I quite like the steering wheel.
Yeah, well, it's the turbo, but it is the 4-speed auto, which is what brought the price down to sensible levels.
4 on the floor.
Yes, literally 4 on the floor, and it gets in my
Litres?
defense. It does 75 miles an hour in
Coolant.
second gear, which is impressive. And it rolls in a corner like there's no tomorrow, but actually it makes it round. So you go into a corner, you turn in hard, and you think, oh my God, I'm going to die and roll over and burn in flames. And then you look up and you realise not only has it got round the corner perfectly fine, but you're still alive. And there's another corner coming up for you to do it all over again.
I mean, I wouldn't say driving a Subaru is really living.
Well, you haven't driven the right Subarus then.
No, I don't think I will.
Is there ever such thing as the right Subaru? Though?
Oh,
To be honest,
Subaru Legacy.
let's be honest, the
S402.
Evo was the better of the two, so let's just leave it at that.
No, I respect the Evo massively, and
Especially when it's got a Saab back on it, or whatever they do.
the Evo. You mean the Subaru?
Oh God, is it?
It's a Subaru. It's a Subaru and Saab combined. They did two.
Well, I'll take
They
that
did
back
a
then. I'll take that
93X
back.
in America, which was a
Oh, no,
large
you-
SUV, and then they
No.
did one based on the Hawkeye Impreza, which was called a 93X. And
No,
that
you
was
can
a
actually
2.5 what?
You can actually build an Evo out of a Mitsubishi Lancer Touring or Wagon, whatever they call them.
They're quite cool.
They are very cool.
They
But
are.
the back end is awful.
No, I like the back end. I had a courtesy car from my Subaru garage back in the day, which was a Mitsi Lancer Estate, and it was a pretty poor little 1.8 or something, but I really liked the look of it, and I thought if only this had 360 horsepower and the engine the correct way round and a less electronic four-wheel drive system, I'd like it. And then I thought I'd just buy a Subaru Impreza Estate. Job done. So, yeah, I bought a car, and it hasn't broken down yet. It does have a bit of hot oil smell sometimes, but it's got a 3-month warranty on it, which is a first car I've had with a
I
warranty
would
on.
love to see the particulars of that warranty. We warrant that this car is a car.
No, it's a return to base, but he said, look, if it's anything serious, phone me up and I'll just give you your money back because it won't be worth repairing it. And I was like, God, you're very lucky I'm an honest and upstanding member of society. Otherwise I'd say,
think
yeah, cam cover gaskets are gone, give me my money back.
I think the phrase is fool.
No, it's a lovely piece of kit and it's very practical and there's a huge boot on it, almost as big as the Legacy. And Charlie's using it she's a dog walker, so she puts dogs in it, standard. And it's doing lovely. And she says there are fields now that she used to have to park on the side of the road, it's really dangerous. Now she just drives into the field, full speed, gets the dogs out, go for a walk, drives out, no harm whatsoever. It's basically, think of it like a Camel Trophy Land Rover. But
Absolutely not.
yes.
So, Ian, car is currently underneath us. We are sat on top of your car and it is in bits.
Well, we've got the wheels back now.
Yes.
The wheels no longer have Coventry-shaped gouges out of them. Coventry-shaped. They're from a Coventry roundabout.
I've been moving
before
also.
I
Do you realise
owned it.
I took your wheels to Swindon and back, and then I went to Bristol and back to get the tyres, and then I took them to Swindon and back, and then I went to Swindon and back to get the... I've been ferrying your tyres around as if they were like children.
Yes.
Good tyres, though. Spicy tyres.
And people say you're not useful.
Yeah, I know.
No, I'm just saying people say you're not. Feels the time to tell you these things. No, we've been having fun with it. Wet sanding, huge swathes of bonnet and roof and stuff. It's one of those things I've never really had a chance to do anything to it. And to be honest, I've never really had the inclination to, because I know as soon as I look at it too closely, I'm going to start seeing all of the defects, and then I'm either have to do something about it or just throw the car away and start again. So historically, I've not really bothered, which is a terrible thing for a detailer to say. But I like taking care of cars that.
It's not though, is it? It's like, a builder's house is never finished.
Yeah, mechanic's car always breaks down.
And a detailer's car's always full. Generally.
No, I've always kept it clean.
Yeah, but not like super detailed.
Exactly.
I mean, my Leon got a quick zip over and half ceramic coated because my dad, hi Pops, forgot to do the whole passenger side.
Don't fool yourself.
Blamed it on me. No,
he's got better things to do than listen to you whining on the podcast.
He blamed it on me by proxy, saying that the arrival of my son at the unit to say hello distracted him. That's the story. So apparently it's my fault by proxy.
Well, it's your son's fault, to be fair.
Wait, it's his fault. It's his fault and pin it on him.
Corporal punishment, I say.
But hey, we've got half a car to test ceramics on now, which is cool.
That's very true. And we've got quite a few to test. I mean, and the idea of doing this Audi is multiple. One is that we wanted something for the mega test, but also the showcase section. We normally show lots of other detailers' work and stuff, and it's great. And we're doing some of that this time as well. But we wanted to kind of do our own for a showcase. So
we've never really done our own cars as start to finish.
Yeah, and we thought this was going to be a nice sort of repeating thing because we always go through cars. I mean, James buys cars every 6 months. I buy cars whenever I don't ever sell cars.
Whenever the last one starts to break.
Yeah, I'm up to 5 cars now, and only 2 of them work. So it's
a push.
It's a process. They work.
It is if you try to go down the road.
No, 3 of them work actually. One's just not got an MOT and happens to be 100 miles away. But
which 3 work?
Fritz, he's just not got an MOT. Vod, which is obviously perfect, and Fozzie. So
Who?
Fozzie, the Forester. We haven't got a proper name yet. So
I mean, the bus works as well, technically.
The bus works, but the bus is being caged.
It's just having cages put in the back of it.
But that's
So,
car
hang on a minute,
6.
so when the bus is finished,
Yes.
what happens to the Forester? Do we get to burn it?
No.
Can we burn the bus then?
No.
Can we burn them all?
Stop burning things.
Oh,
Only your things.
Hey, wait,
No.
there's 3 of us. There's 3 Subarus. If we drove them all at each other at the same time, we could do them all in at once.
You
Play
would all
Subaru
die.
car football.
No, these
With
are
a-
horrible ideas.
With a Subaru as the ball as well. We'll get a Justy.
Stop. Oh, I like a Justy. I like a 1.2 Justy with a 4-wheel drive button in the middle of the gear stick. Anyway, so yeah, what the idea is in each mag we will pick one of our cars. We've all got fairly interesting cars, and we will do a detail of some description on it and cover it in detail for your reading pleasure.
Yes, I think I'm going to have to...
So James is up next with some old Bimmer, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm going to drag the E34 out of its hibernation spot just for your pleasure.
Cool.
Hey, listen, you're the one who actually owns a car from a scrapyard.
Yeah, Vod was rescued minutes before death. It's like
So was Boris, wasn't it?
Boris was, I was the second highest bidder on eBay, and they cancelled the other bidder because he was a breaker. So he said we prefer it to go to somebody who was going to look after it.
And to be fair, the legacy should have gone to the scrapyard.
No, the legacy was fine. I was slightly worried it might be seized as sort of proceeds of crime or something. But apart from that, it's when we find the legacy. And I can't say that story on thing. I might get in trouble.
No, I don't sell drugs
Not
anymore.
anymore.
Yes. It makes me sad that you bought that car from where I used to live.
Yeah, exactly. Hashtag Stockport. That's going to be an interesting new feature. So I think we've done many updates. We're what?
Yeah.
How far are we in? We've been nattering for 55 minutes by the looks of it. Here.
Yeah, it's all right.
So that's cool. But anyway, just a quick shout out. Magazine will be okay. Yeah, this is an important thing if you are listening. Because Waxstock isn't on, we've been a little bit more lax with the deadlines, but there has been good reason for that. Obviously, I'd like to blame COVID and all that, but really it's because we're making it bigger and better than normal, and we're putting an awful lot of effort into this one. So, we put a sort of lot of effort into all of them, but this one is bigger and it's sexier than what has gone before, which is what we always try and achieve.
And we've had less content to work with because we've not really been able to go anywhere, have we?
Yeah, so bigger
we've,
pictures.
We've tried to sort of...
Had to fill half an event section with other stuff.
Yeah.
Because there's been no events because everything's cancelled.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah, and we've done other things like every single new product we've actually had in our hands and photographed ourselves and had a play with.
New products is chock-a-block, this one.
Yeah, it's
really good.
53, I think,
Yeah.
so far, and I've got some others. New hardware is going to be really awesome. So anyway, long story short, we are aiming to go to print at the end of next week.
Date?
Well, hang on, what's the date today?
24th of July we're going to print.
Okie dokie. And then there's normally...
If our printer ever turns up.
Well, yeah, so we've ordered...
Oh, yeah, shout out to our best friends at the printer place in Cheshire.
Yeah, God, we spent 1,250 quid on a new A3 colour printer because we need to be able to proof these things really properly. And it's supposed to arrive today, and it hasn't. And now it's not arriving till Monday, and we're working right the way through the weekend as per normal, and it's going to be very frustrating.
It was mainly down to the good work of a dynamite named courier company who decided to randomly misplace an A3 printer that's big enough to go on a pallet.
Yes.
It's misplaced, so yay.
And in other news, if you fancy an HP 5550 DTN with added 1,000 sheet tray and a slightly flawed motherboard, our old Big Bertha, which is recently deceased, do give me a shout. It weighs 97 kilos. So yeah, that's coming along, and we have normally when we submit at the end of next week, we will be doing a bit of toing and froing with the print company, and then about a week later it comes back to us. We are going to be using an alternative shipping system for the first ones because, frankly, the normal Royal Mail prices have increased literally.
Frankly.
Have increased since we started in. Boom. Since we started in 2015, the prices
I'm going to use all the buttons on the roadcast in this episode.
have literally tripled in 5 years since privatisation and all that. So we've found an alternative. It's not quite as quick, but it's just more sensible, and it stops us having to raise prices.
It's a bit like you,
that.
Bert.
What, old and sensible?
No, not quite as quick and sensible.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, well, that's true. That's fair comment.
And your cars.
Shut up.
I think if this goes over an hour, we have to charge VAT.
Yeah, crap.
It's only 5% though, because you can eat it.
Yeah. So yeah, it'll be out in very early August, and we'll be sending copies out, and we really hope you enjoy it. If it's not out, we will have capitulated or run away or hidden. But we've got a lot of subscriber copies going out, so we'll have to move to Brazil and change our names if we do.
I am not going to Brazil at the moment.
No, it's probably not a good place to go.
Flights are cheap.
Yeah.
But if you go British Airways, you'll have to go on the 737 because they've just
That's going to be a wet ending.
yeah, they've basically just shut down their whole 747 fleet now, so they'll all be
But it's
flying
gonna be-
over the units.
I was about to say, it's going to be busy around here, isn't it?
Yeah, Kemble.
yeah.
Well, Kemble already, which is just down from the unit here, is full of BA 747s and other 747s.
Yeah,
It's literally a
KLM.
car park. It's brilliant.
Well, there's a KLM one, but they've scratched KLM off, so they don't know it's KLM because it's got such an unrecognisable livery on it. Oh, I've never seen a silver over sky blue plane before. I wonder where that's from.
Well, security's gone up. They've got some burly-looking men with dogs going around at night, apparently.
Why are you creeping around at night again, Bert?
I'm not.
We keep saying this on every podcast. Stop creeping around at night.
I get bored.
Well, that sounds like a good place to end.
Okie dokie. Well, thank you very much for listening, ladies and gentlemen. And we will be back with episode 8 at some point in the future if we make it through. As I say, grab your copy of the magazine at www.pro-detailer.com. Select the 2020 pack, and we shall send issue 11 out to you. And in December, we'll send issue 12 out to you, which is kind of cool. Thank you very much for listening, and goodbye from me and from Ian.
Mummy.
Goodbye.
Mummy.
And James. All right, press the button. Not that bloody button.